Call in by clicking the link in the stream's description. The professor wants to hear from you.
On the cusp, not too old to adjust. Old dog, new tricks. Remember, I was just a pup. Something dirty in my cup. Clean soul, good karma.
Yeah. Woo! Woke up with a vision, it's Professor Bear's day. Ruling the game, coming hard, paving his way. Thoughtful and smart, yeah, the wisdom of math. In a world full of shadows, he's breaking the cap.
Previously on WrestleRama.
Goldberg's super kick was fierce, ended Brett's career with one clear shot. 1,000 cheers, no room for tears. Grit and glory, what he's got.
Look at Bear! Look at Bear!
The Cardinals make their nest in Tanner's beard where legends rest. Lex the Train says he's the best. Goldberg's power stands the test. In every match he is the best. Brett sucks. Goldberg, hear the crowd roar. Every kick leaves us wanting more. Through the ring like thunderstorms.
Catch WrestleRama on the SSDN network, on Twitch, and on X, or wherever you get your podcast.
What's going on, people, and welcome to A Bers Thoughts. And today is such a great day because I have such a special guest who's been kind enough to have me on the show so many times. And I thought I needed to return the favor. My man, Benny Laurie. What's going on, Benny?
Well, I appreciate that. Now that I got that in the way, I'll see you later. Bye. No, I'm just kidding. What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Man, I can't call it. Oh, man. So today's episode is something that has been going on in wrestling since the beginning of wrestling, but it has become really a big focus. And fortunately and unfortunately, it's talent releases. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, with Benny, hey, this would be a great topic for discussion because not all talent releases are a bad thing. So we're going to get started and talk about it. So, since I'm going to talk about the most cool thing that has happened in the last 24 hours, Ricky Starks got released on Monday, and I'd be damned if he wasn't on NXT on Tuesday. What is your thoughts about that, Benny?
I by the way, I got to shout out my co-host and my partner, Jeff the Ruck, who actually sent me that, and I was like, wasn't he like not even two steps of leaving the AEW companies, like doing his anime hand-to-head thing at NXT? And I was like, wait, what the hell is going on? I'm literally going to bed and I see that, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And I text you last night, and I'm like, well, that escalated quickly. He got there fast. Quoting Razor Ramon, you know who I am, and you know why I'm here.
Yes, yes, yes. It is so crazy. Well, let's begin like this. With AEW's releases, they released Miro, they released Aleister Black, and of course Ricky Starks.
Mhm.
And all three, if I'm not mistaken, all three are free to sign and do anything immediately. They do not have a 90-day clause like the WWE do with their talent. Or if you're in NXT, 45 days.
Mhm.
So what do you, first off, what do you think about Tony Khan finally releasing Miro at all three of them?
I think, to be quite honest with you, Alistair Black, we're going to call him Alistair Black because we all know where his destination is going to be. That's right. We're talking about New Japan. No, of course, I think all of them are going to be going to WWE, to be quite honest with you. But I feel like, first and foremost, it's never a good thing when a wrestler loses their job. Anybody loses their job, whatever company is, whether it's wrestling, media, whatever the case may be, because you got people that feed their families. I can relate this to more so with baseball players and then so than any other sport, because these players scratch and claw to get to the big show and Major League Baseball, and then out of the blue, because there's a hot prospect or a big name player, people get shipped out. And it makes no sense at all on when they do that. And I feel bad because people buy houses and, they got to take care of their families. But I think for the most part, this was a long time coming. I was more surprised about Ricky Starks literally 30 seconds after getting released, making it to WWE. But I think we kind of saw it coming with Miro and as well as Aleister Black making it on there as well.
Yeah, definitely. Ricky is a real interesting take for me because, we've seen Ricky at WrestleMania, was it 39 with Cody, and in the backstage leak photo. But, and well, let me say this. In today's wrestling atmosphere, all of them are going to land on their feet. It's just a matter of what you want to do and how you want to go about it.
Correct.
It's a good thing that we have all these different promotions where you can literally make a comfortable living. And like Zack Ryder, Matt Cardone has proven, you don't have to be in the majors to make killer money. I mean, he's tearing up the indie scene, and it's just amazing. So wrestling, they're in a good point. This is not like when the pandemic hit and they started releasing people and they literally had nowhere to work because everything was shut down. But with Ricky Starks, in first and foremost, Ricky looks like a star. He acts like a star. He wrestles like a star. So we expect him to be able to blow up and, like he said, set the world on fire. And you would think with his character and the way he is, with the WWE machine behind him, man, it's just like, woof. It would not surprise me to see him main eventing a WWE pay-per-view. And yes, I call it a pay-per-view. I'm that damn old. That he will be main eventing one before the end of the year. I don't think he's going to stay in NXT too long. But I like it because you have a lot of different things. Like you said, you can go to New Japan. You can go to TNA, which is basically WWE at this point, but you have so many different avenues and things you can do. I think is great. Plus, it's a good thing and a sucky thing for AEW not to protect themselves with some kind of 30, 60, 90-day clause for them. Because, again, as much as we talked about WWE and they're releasing people and doing that kind of crap, it just makes good business sense,
right,
to protect your brand. So
I will say this real quickly. First of all, thank you for revealing your age. How old was Gas when that happened? I'm just curious. I'll go as far as saying this. Look, I think it made sense why WWE made all those releases. I think it's like 12 or 11 releases on air talent wise that WWE did this year. I was doing some research, and on average, there's about 12 to 15 cuts per year. And it used to be more when Vince McMahon was in charge. And obviously in the Triple H era, things have kind of changed a little bit. And I think for the most part, I think it has to do with the financial standpoint. I know that from a business standpoint, people are going to look at this and be like, oh, these guys lost their job. And obviously people can get back on their feet. But the fact of the matter is, when you really look at it, Bear, is that, and the audience can understand this as well, we now know why WWE did that, because they're going to sign Miro, they're going to sign Alistair, and obviously they already signed Ricky Starks. And I think also, to your point, the reason why Starks didn't debut on the main roster, maybe because from a mainstream standpoint, from a casual wrestling fan's perspective, a lot of people may not know or are familiar with Starks. Obviously, the hardcore fans or the ones that are in tune with AEW and WWE understand who Ricky Starks is. And so I guess they want to get his feet wet. And also because we're in the thick of the road to WrestleMania season. So obviously Triple H Hunter already has his lineup possibly already set up. And there may be a couple tweaks here and there. But I will say this. The reality is that when it comes to the talent being released and all these other things that are going on in retrospect, I think that to a certain degree, the way they handle things, I think WWE handles it a little bit better than AEW. As you mentioned, the 90-day non-compete clause. AEW was like, okay, you know what? You have to wait whether you like it or not. And I think it's not right that, you hold somebody hostage. Case in point, Rey Fenix, who been documented that he wanted to leave AEW for a long, long time. And he was supposed to debut with Penta, but unfortunately there's been, roadblocks because they're extending it because of his injuries and things like that.
Well, and I agree with you on that. But the thing is, and this is just from a business standpoint for me. Mm-hmm. You sign a contract with me. We say you sign a contract for 3 years. Say the first year you just really disappointed on what I'm doing with you, and we're gonna sit down and try to discuss it and try to make you happy. Well, say 6 more months go by and you're just fed up. You're just feeling like I'm not handling your brand right, and so you want to leave. Well, I put together a package for you that I'm paying you for this many years. Mm-hmm. And what, for me as a business person, it doesn't look good for me not to let you out your contract that you signed because you're unhappy. I mean, right. There's a lot of people in the world unhappy with their jobs and have signed contracts that have to finish their contract. Now I get it. I understand their point. Maybe, okay, you're not presenting me in the way you said you were, or it's not going the way I thought. But if I let you out of your contract, who else? I mean, everybody can get that. Well, hell, if I don't like mine, I can go up. He let him out. Why not let me out?
I know that. I wanted to add something real quickly before we get to that caller that a producer is mentioning. But you mentioned about wrestlers being successful outside of the mainstream WWE, AEW, TNA, so on and so on. AEW, if people remember, AEW, they were extremely successful before they were created on TV, before they had their contract, before Tony Khan was even in the picture. They sold out an arena and they weren't linked to a major promotion. You know, the original AEPs of AEW, you know, Cody, you know,
Right.
the Young
Kenny,
Bucks and so on and things like
right.
that. So my thing is that, yes, it can be done.
Okay. Well, producer, why don't you go ahead and put that caller online, and definitely feel free to call in and join into this discussion with us.
Jeez Louise, I hear yapping and bapping, and what the heck was that music video? Benny, what did you do?
Those are things that I like to cringe bear on when I do my podcast with Jeff.
Man, I thought that was an Eldritch production there for a moment. You know, I digress. So the releases, man. I mean, let's look at the producer, the lovely producer who is handsome, if I may say so myself. Let's compare and contrast real quick at some things. Look at AEW's releases. Three guys, right? Let's look at WWE's. Come on. I mean, the funny part about that is this. Yep, the AEW, good job. He's following along pretty well. Made more of an impact, I think, than this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, see here, and I agree with you now. That makes more of an impact now. But you have most of the talent that WWE released are still in young enough where they can make a great name for themselves and build and do like Drew McIntyre did when WWE released him.
Or Cardona.
They went out to show WWE that they dropped the ball, that they can be stars. And they went out, hit the independents, and just made a great name for themselves where Drew is back. And I mean, hell, he's been what, 2-time WWE world champion. So I get it. For
one and a half, Bear. 1.5. 1.5. It only lasted 30 seconds. 1.5.
Hey, 30 seconds. Well, that's 3 actually. Then, because I was thinking about it. He won 2, but I forgot that 30 second. But I get it, and yeah. And I'm gonna bring that up a little later, Rusty, about the injury. That they still have a great time and they can make a great name for themselves and make it back into the WWE if they choose to do that path.
I agree.
I guess myself, I think about it like those are some very young talent. And look, AEW can get a hold of them and make them more bigger than WWE could even imagine. It's happening.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to get off here that way other callers can call in. But before I go, Bear, I'm sorry. By orders of Brady, your daily dose of Hogan, buddy. I'm sorry. Sorry, brother.
I thought I was the only one that would berate him on that. That's perfect, man.
I got to go. Bye, Bear.
I'm going to see you soon. I'll see you.
Bye, Benny. Bye.
Oh, man.
But with that being said, thank you, Jason. Man, I'm always working on listening. Brady, man, we got to talk. We got to talk about this Hogan stuff. But Benny was nice enough to tell me some great news about Hogan today. Why don't you go ahead and share that with the rest
I'm
of them?
afraid, man. I'm not trying to get on Brady's bad side. I'm only a guest on the show, and I don't want my 30 seconds of fame to go away, man.
You okay? Go ahead and tell them.
I want to throw a disclaimer. The comments that I'm about to say do not associate with my approval of this message. This was Bear's idea, not mine. Please punish him, Brady. I apologize. No, that apparently Hollywood Hulk Hogan is getting sued for not doing a good job with his beer company, which, to be honest with you, they picked the wrong WWE legend to promote a beer company on the debut of Raw on Netflix, but that's just me.
Oh yeah, he's definitely gonna be there. So I'm gonna say this, and then we're gonna go back to the subject at hand. It couldn't happen to a better person. But going back to the discussion.
Tell me why. No, I was kidding.
We'll talk about it off air. We got better things to talk about today. So, and let me be very clear with everybody. This is not a joking manner, because no one losing their job is funny. We're just breaking down what we see and some of the benefits that actually losing your job and going somewhere else can bring you, because it's happened.
Right.
I brought up Drew McIntyre. Way to tell him, Rusty. Drew McIntyre left and came back just a dominant force that WWE had to have, because he went to prove them wrong, which he did.
Right.
And he's a superstar now. We talked about Matt Cardona. I mean, anybody will want to sign him to some long-term contract, but
Correct.
He is playing the game. He's making you want him. You want to be in the Cardona business. And I admire that, and I appreciate him for that. But going back to the WWE's releases, Benny, who in that list do you think has the best chance of being a breakout star? Producer, if you could put that the list up again of the WWE. Thank you.
I honestly would say a lot of these stars that you see on here, to be quite honest with you, I think they've kind of reached their peak, and I'm not knocking them from a talent standpoint. I mean, I hope that they prove me wrong. It's kind of like, when you get a player that you draft in the NFL draft, everybody's got an opinion and nobody knows what's really going to happen beyond that.
Correct.
But I honestly will tell you, to be honest with you, I guess if I had to pick one, Cedric, only because of the Hurt Syndicate in AEW. Obviously he did well with the Hurt Business, and then kind of lost his luster a little bit, if you will. But I kind of agree with Rusty. For the most part, I really don't see somebody that pops out. And to be honest with you, to Mr. Monroe's point, you're talking about all these wrestlers being released to just three people, who those three people alone, just one of them can make an immediate impact.
True. Mr. Producer, if you don't mind putting the caller through.
My boy Bear, what's up, dude?
What's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you, my brother?
Man, living the dream every day.
That's right. That's what's up.
So what do you have to add to this discussion, my friend?
If you don't care, catch me up. I just finished up with my podcast and knew you guys were on and wanted to come in and say hello. Catch me up. Just give me a Cliff Notes version here if you don't care.
We were talking
we're-
about how much Bear really likes Hulk Hogan, and that he
I don't think that's
portrays
what
on
we're
TV.
talking about at all. I don't think that's at all what we're talking about. Not even a little bit. I don't think that's at all what's going on.
We're talking about the releases and how they can be a bad thing and a good thing.
Mhm.
And one of the main talking points were talking about how Ricky Starks he got released Monday and Tuesday he was at NXT.
You know, I think we live in a world in wrestling at this point where and it's going to be terrible. I think what I'm hearing you say is going to sound really off kilter, but it doesn't mean exactly what I'm hearing you say. But we live in a world in wrestling now where literally another man's trash is another man's treasure. Like, and I feel like that's how wrestling is at this. Like, one company's trash is another person's treasure. Like, I've said this. I've been on record many times saying this, that Ricochet was underutilized in WWE. I think he was one of the most underutilized talent that WWE had. And he left because he knew that as well. Now, do I necessarily believe that AEW is going to use him the way they should? No, because I don't have a lot of faith in AEW. But I feel like that he will be more utilized than he was in WWE. So I feel like releases are a new beginning for anyone. I feel like they're an opportunity to really show the world what you didn't get to show in one company. So I feel like that they're a positive thing in a world where people think they're negative. I think they're a positive thing. Ricky Starks obviously already turned it into a positive. The pop he got last night was amazing. So
yeah, it was amazing and so quick. It was so.
Somebody's having an argument with themselves. Apparently, that's what's going on.
Look, Joe, I got hair. It's not you, Joe. I got hair, my boy. I got hair. Joe Monroe and I, for the record, Joe and Monroe and I do not look alike. I'm much better looking. I have hair. I love Joe, but come on, man. We don't look alike. My goodness.
Well, being the man in the middle when we met.
Bear. My boy,
I'm not getting it. Hey, listen, Bronx, we just met. I'm not getting in this conversation.
Listen, Joe is a little bit taller. Joe's a little bit taller, but maybe not now because my hair is longer. It's like if I stand beside Joe now and I kind of pull my hair up like this, then maybe I'll be taller than Joe because Joe might be an inch taller than me in his best shoes.
I think you guys should put it on a poll. Do they look like twins? Yes or no?
Don't do that. Don't do that. I feel like people will do it.
After the show, I'm gonna do it. Thanks. I like that.
That's crazy.
We're gonna do it.
There is a, and I know when I bring this up, it's going to pop up. There's a picture that occasionally that will pop up on a show on WSN Watch Along of Kevin Owens, myself, and Joe on the same body, and it is frightening to see that. Bear, I know you've seen it, Bear. It's awful. It scares me to death. Oh, they're bringing up Watch Along. I don't know what's going on.
I guess I'm doing multiple shows today. I had no idea. This is
look. I'm about to say we're still only paying you for one.
I told you. It's like Joe Hendry, man. Say it and it'll appear.
Well, I would say Joe in that picture looks more like he looks more like Gacy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you,
Barry. Out of the show.
Look, I can't let you keep messing with my boy Joe. Let's get back on.
Hey, he liked it. He liked it.
Yeah, he liked it, Bear. We're not doing it.
It was a tournament demon. I wasn't insulting the men. By the way, whoever wins this vote, Bear will wear a Hulk Hogan shirt just for you on his show.
Never.
You know that's not happening at all. I guess I got to go. There's somebody more interesting, apparently. I doubt it, but someone more interesting.
It was a pleasure meeting you, brother.
You are definitely welcome. And I'm so grateful to meet you in person. It was fun, and we're going to do it again very, very soon.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for taking me on. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys.
Right. So, Mr. Producer, let's see our next caller, please. Rusty, what's going on, my friend?
I don't know a whole lot, fellas. How about y'all?
What's going on, Rusty? Good. How are you, brother?
Okay, so about the releases, Sonya Deville's contract was not renewed.
Right.
So she was not under contract.
Right. So she can pop up when it ends. She can pop up wherever she wants.
Yeah. Duke Hudson. I never really liked Duke Hudson from the beginning, when he was the gambler and playing poker, and then when they added him to Chase U, I'm like, that just don't fit. That other dude fit that they released a couple years ago, that blonde-headed dude.
Right.
Cedric going to AEW to join Bobby and MVP. I don't think that's happening because of the way AEW treated his wife, Big Swole.
You know, I was talking to someone about that.
I just forgot about that. That's a good point.
But the thing is business, and money will make you change and do strange things. And with Cedric, I think with having Bobby and Bobby and Shelton and MVP there to vouch for him, I think I could see them working it in where he comes. I really could.
But would you think that would cause problems at home, though?
No, because I think it. I don't know the relationship, so I can't speak on that. But what I will say is sometimes you have to do things for the best thing for the family, and maybe him, because I think Cedric is going to be like a Ricochet. He can go much further in AEW than he would in WWE because of their style.
And with the Elektra Lopez, I mean, she never wrestled anymore. She was just standing there. So I see why she was gone there. Blair Davenport, I guess they didn't have nothing for her.
Right. And she can go back to Stardom. She can pop up back at AEW. She has a tremendous build. Her name is out there, so I don't see her having a problem getting booked anywhere.
Yeah, it's just the people who they released were not on TV. Like I was saying earlier, with Luke Gallows being injured, so they went ahead and said, "Hey, we're just going to go and cut you. Just go get healed and go do what you want to do."
Which is funny because that was back up. So that was different because WWE usually do not release a wrestler when they're hurt. So that was real different.
Yeah. And then with the three that AEW released, like I've seen interviews with Ricky Stark and they ask him, "Hey, how's your contract with AEW? What's going on?" He just smiles and goes, shakes his head and does not say a word because
it's smart.
Something in their contract, they're not allowed to say anything bad about AEW.
Well, even if you could, why would? Because something my parents taught me when I was a little kid, and I to this day use that and try to remember it. You're never gonna set fire to a bridge you may have to cross back over. If you sit there and talk about that company and it's crap and blah blah blah, and then you go somewhere else thinking the grass is greener and it's not, you just cannot go back to that company. Hey, I was in a bad mood, I've grown. Most people don't care about that crap. They're not going to hear it. Only thing they're going to remember is you.
What's that acronym? SOOL?
Yes, yes.
Out of luck. Yeah.
And
And then,
so,
I'll go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, you just got to be smart because throughout all of this is business. You
I was
have
gonna
to
say
make
this
sure
real
you
quick.
cover your business.
I was gonna add something here, Rusty, real quick, because I know you wanted to say something, but it's like kind of like if you follow the NBA, the situation what happened with Jimmy Butler in Miami when he pretty much got traded to the Golden State Warriors, and long story short, how that happened was he just aired out his grievances on camera in front of everybody, and the organization was like, hey, we're not going to be dealing with this. So they suspend him for contract detrimental. And the thing about it is that he burned his bridges and nobody's really looking at him as an asset. And I think it's the same thing to do with professional wrestlers. Like the point that I'm trying to get at is that, and I think to Bear's point, he has a valid point here, is that if you burn bridges and something arises, they're going to have receipts on you doing this and the other. Like there's some instances where it can work. I mean, Phil going back to WWE, nobody thought that was going to happen. And it did. And he burned his bridges with with the competitor and with WWE, and still is there again because of his name, because of his popularity, and because of his aura and everything else and his talent. But there's some instances where you can't do that 9 times out of 10,
So I was thinking with Miro or Rusev, do you think he's coming back to WWE? You think he might go somewhere else? Because I thought he burned his bridge in WWE when he left, or Lana did it for him.
Well, I think they will, because see, he's a Triple H guy. So I can see Triple H bringing him back in. And as we said, we just got through saying don't burn your bridges. There are times where people burnt their bridges and was able to come back and make amends for it. So with Lana and him not being married anymore, I think they would be willing to give him a chance because his name value is still good.
Oh yeah.
So I wouldn't doubt that I would see him back in WWE.
And see, and I thought Aleister Black would go to Japan first, but then after Chad Gable and Dominic gave him that card, I think that card has Aleister Black written all over it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't shock me.
And Zelina's wearing all black now, so. But I just hope when he comes back, it's the rising up. I mean, it's got to be, don't it?
Yeah, you would hope so. But sometimes people don't. Especially if you're a creative person, you don't want to go backwards. So, and I can see him quickly like, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm past that. Let's do this.
Yeah. So, like I said, I just wanted to chime in and say all the releases that WWE had, it was just they weren't being used. They wasn't no good. I mean, the Isla Dawn thing, I don't know why they let her go because I thought that was a pretty good tag team between her and Alba Fire, unless the Alba Fire character is going to go back to her original name now.
Right.
And get rid of Alba Fire because of 2.0 NXT. That's why they changed it.
Well, and then another thing, too, that someone brought up was they're making room for the NXT call-ups.
Correct.
So
yeah. And they just trademarked 14 new names.
Right, I saw that.
And so I don't know if they're the LFG people or if they're just NXT people going to be called. They're going to be in NXT here pretty soon, or what?
It could also be that new faction that's being teased for Vengeance on NXT as well.
Well, yeah, those 4 guys, those names were not trademarked. It's Saquon something and Dion Lennox, and
I'm referring to the potential of one of these stars, possibly Ricky Starks, maybe somebody else being linked to this faction. Maybe Sanity's coming back. We don't know. What I was saying is obviously the reason why WWE does this is because they're trying to have more budget for the stars that are their contracts are about to expire that they want to keep hold of for a very long time, or it could be somebody that's going to be transferring as a free agent and they want to pick up a la Ricky Starks, for example. And I think that from a business standpoint, it's kind of weird because in business economics, when there are budget cuts, the company's profit as what their net worth is goes up. You know, like when an owner sells a professional sports team, when they get rid of all their star players, they make more money when they sell the team versus all the assets they already have because they're losing money. So from that standpoint of what WWE did, and Rusty, to your point, I agree 1,000% with you and also with Bear. But I think obviously it was a ploy to grab more pieces that are more valuable outside of the WWE universe.
That will draw more money.
Correct.
So.
Because, I mean, look, if you look at it this way, like, and I think we all understand this because everybody from a standpoint, WWE is more mainstream to the casual fans that like the pop and circumstance. And AEW is more geared towards the hardcore wrestling fans that love just matches. They don't like people talking on the mic. They just want to have, fights and people beating up each other and doing flips and all the stuff that just gets people drawn out. Now, WWE does have moments where they do that here and there, but from a consecutive standpoint, and I'll give Triple H a lot of credit. It has improved in that stance recently, but it's more geared towards, mainstream media, and AEW is more geared towards the underground world, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So, but it makes lots of sense. But I just wanted to just touch base and just say hi, what's up, and give my 2 cents worth.
All right.
And what do you think about Bear's thoughts about Hulk Hogan?
I told him to Google something the other day. I don't know if he ever did it or not. You ever Google Hulk Hogan as Papa Smurf?
No.
Wait,
yeah,
what?
You need to go do that.
All right.
Right now.
So, all right, y'all go have a good night.
You too, Rusty.
Take care, brother.
Man, it's another thing I wanted to touch on is I wanted to go and talk about wrestlers who
I just saw what he talked about. I don't think you could put this on the air.
Okay, I definitely look at it later. I think I wanted to talk about wrestlers who went to different shows and have been better for going to another company and not necessarily being WWE either. Like one of my favorite is look at Swerve Strickland.
Yes.
He just has hit the mark. His name is out there. People love him. Former world champion, and WWE dropped the ball with him on that. And again, you can't create everybody to be mega stars. It just not happening. But sometimes you can get that that right person and the right situation and just go mega. Another person that comes to mind is Chris Jericho when he was with WCW. People liked him, but once he got to WWE, people loved Jericho.
Yeah.
I mean, and his stock had just went through the roof. And even if you would say that when he went to AEW, it dropped, but he is name value. When you hear Chris Jericho, you think of a star. So,
you could also go as with the reality show that they had with Tough Enough that first season or one of the seasons where Morrison was the runner-up, and nobody knew who he was, and he eventually got into WWE and he blew up, and then at that moment they got rid of him, and then He was doing his thing in Lucha Underground and all these other things, and came back to WWE and, kind of did their thing. Another person you can also say as well, I'm trying to remember the person's name off the top of my head. I'm having a senior moment, Bear. I apologize. But you could definitely name a lot of people. And to your point, just because you're gone from a company, the business person, you know what? Perfect example, Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Now he was utilized correctly in a way. We all liked it, the thing. And then Vince McMahon decided to, and of course this is a Vince McMahon problem, decided to change his gimmick like his brother in WWE. And it turned out to be because they were looking back to the cartoonish era that they used to have before WCW decided to compete with WWE, and they made him Stardust. And when they released him, Cody Rhodes blew up. Cody Rhodes was more popular in the indie scenes than he was in WWE.
Exactly.
And if it wasn't for AEW, putting him out there on the map and things like that, then he would have not even blown up to the existence where when WWE said, okay, he's available, let's debut him back in WWE. You know what? Let's debut him on WrestleMania. AJ Styles is another one. He left TNA, went to New Japan, got bigger than he did in TNA, and then
which is
debuted on the Royal Rumble.
Which is funny to say that he got bigger in New Japan when he was Mr. TNA.
Yes.
When you said TNA, the first person you thought of was AJ Styles.
Yes.
And
one of the pillars. Yep.
Yeah. And like you said, New Japan he took the Bullet Club. He got linked with the Bullet Club and they just blew up worldwide. Mm-hmm. And then, like you said, then he shows up at WWE and on top of that, the respect they gave him because they didn't make him go through NXT. They let him keep his name. He was a major force. He won the world championship. Who in the world would have thought AJ Styles would have come to WWE and win their world title? That's just really speaks to the power of AJ.
Bear, I got to tell you something. And I say this a lot on my podcast with Jeff, and Jeff knows, if he's watching, he probably knows what I'm about to say. I was at the Royal Rumble in Orlando when AJ Styles made his WWE debut, and nobody knew about it. It wasn't rumored. It was WWE did a really good job keeping it secret. They were originally, the rumor was that Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson and AJ Styles were going to debut on NXT. I don't know if you remember that. And then, but nothing was official. And when his music hit and you see Roman Reigns kind of doing the squinting thing, I saw the music and I'm like, who the hell is this? When I saw like half of the word of phenomenal, let me tell you something. There are no such things as earthquakes in Florida, but we felt like it was a 7.9 earthquake in Orlando at the Amway Center. It went ballistic. It was nuts. And the crowd, I don't know if people heard it, but I was there. The crowd wouldn't stop chanting AJ Styles for almost 45 minutes.
Wow.
They were that, even when he left, they were still chanting his name. And it was incredible reception that he had. So to your point, man, people can blow up and do big things and then go back to the original company they were or go to new heights and things like that. So I could tell you, man, we can go back and forth on this with there's a lot of wrestlers we could definitely use this. And I honestly think that, I don't know, I'm kind of concerned about the Aleister Black thing because I think peak of Aleister being really good was when he was in WWE and NXT. He kind of fell by the wayside when he went to the main roster. And I don't know, maybe people may not agree with what I'm about to say. I think he should go back to NXT, but because of the popularity of his name, obviously they're going to probably put him on the main roster. I just feel like, I don't know if it's going to, I think Miro is going to blow up going back to WWE more so than Alistair.
That's an interesting take. I think myself, I would look at it the opposite way. I think Miro would have a great, don't get me wrong, a great pop, and everybody will chant Rusev Day out the joint. Mm-hmm. But I think Alistair, I think it's just something about his presence that he just, I don't know. It's just something that commands respect with him.
No, I don't disagree with you on that. I just think that I think the problem with Aleister Black, his worst critic is himself. I think that he shot himself in the foot way too many times with the politics and the circumstance of how AEW run things behind the scenes. And or at least he thought he had the kind of pool he had in WWE with Triple H in charge. And I think the problem is, and with Miro, the reason that he had a quarrel with WWE and all this stuff, and the people think that the bridges are burning. Remember, his quarrel was with Vince. It wasn't with Triple H. So now that Triple H is pretty much, hey, I'm the guy that's in charge, I think it's full speed ahead. And I agree for the most part, those guys were underutilized on the main roster. I mean, well, Rusev was big in his first 2 years, especially I think after his match against John Cena at WrestleMania where he lost the U.S. title, it kind of fell by the wayside a little bit, and it picked up steam with Rusev Day and then kind of went away. But right. I think those guys could work out. I could be wrong, and I hope I am, but I just, from the WWE standpoint, with the releases that they release, I really don't see really anybody making big noise. And like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope there's somebody out there that got released and turns into another Drew McIntyre or another Cody Rhodes or another Swerve Strickland. You know what I mean? So that's right. The thing that I'm trying to get at.
No, I get that. So I'm gonna name some wrestlers that has went from one place to another, and you tell me what you think about them as far as, was it the right move to move, or they should have stayed where they were? And I'm going to be genuinely curious on your takes on this. So I'm gonna start with CM Punk.
Which company?
When he got fired from AEW to WWE.
I think from the toxicity of his reputation, to be honest with you, I think we all can agree that as talented as a wrestler as Phil is, from, all the companies that he's been on and everything else, he has the reputation that, for the most part, where he likes to speak his mind and things like that. And, there's always three sides to the story. There's the one side of the story, the other side, and then there's the truth.
Right.
I think there was a lot of egos that were not stroked properly, to say the least. And to Phil's point, he had valid points what he said. And when you watch the video, that they pretty much were Tony was extremely petty because he wanted to, he was fearing for his life, if you will, which made no damn sense at all. He was the biggest name that they had outside of Sting. He was the biggest name at that time.
Oh, yeah.
And it made no sense that AEW would fire him. I mean, WWE has, for peeps' sakes, Adam Copeland had an affair with Matt Hardy's girlfriend, and they made it a storyline. Think about that for a second. They made it a storyline, and they were not best buds at the time. They wanted to kill each other, and they were constant professionals about it.
That's the thing.
So no, it was not a good move for AEW to get rid of him, because I don't think AEW has really recovered since they got rid of CM Punk. from a popularity standpoint and from a viewership standpoint compared to WWE, I don't think they've really have recovered.
I agree with you 100%, but I think, and this is me just being a fan and watching the whole thing go on, I think Punk, the one thing I don't care for is his arrogance where he knows everything and you should listen to him. Because when he was younger, when the veterans were trying to talk to him and school him, what did he do? Oh, well, I'm doing it this way. You don't, I'm the voice of the voiceless. Now you come back and you 360, which now I would guess that he understands what the veterans were trying to get him to understand. Now that he understands it, he's trying to give it back to.
Remember, he also has a clause. He also has a clause on his contract that if he acts like that, he's going quick.
Oh yeah. Now,
in a hurry.
You can say whatever about WWE. They're not stupid in one
exactly.
bit.
You better be on your best behavior.
Right. So let me go to the next person. And this one you may not know so much about because it's older, but Vader, when he was in WCW versus when he went to WWF.
So when he left WCW to go to WWF.
Yeah.
Was it a good move for Vader or a bad move for Vader?
Yeah.
I think for the most part, I think WCW at that time was kind of like they were not really as popular, if you will, and WWE kind of, were still, kind of going up in a way. I don't know. It's kind of a push, to be honest with you. I think Vader, for the most part, was a hell of a talent. He was the original Joe Monroe of Kevin Owens, if you will. Sorry, Joe, my apologies. But what I'm saying, or he looks more like Alex A-Train Eldridge, but we'll leave that one alone. I think it was a good move ultimately at the end of the day for him to go to WWE because WCW wasn't pulling in the kind of audience that WWE was pulling in, even with some of the cartoonish things, if you will. It worked out.
Well, yeah, but, and I guess with Vader, I always look at Vader went from the monster in WCW. I think he won the title 3 times, right. 3-time world champion, to a jobber in WWF. I mean, they really did not utilize him correctly. In my
it's kind
opinion.
of the situation with Bret Hart.
Right,
when he left
exactly.
WWE and went to WCW. Like, unfortunately, it didn't pan out. I mean, it was people were going, nuts for it, but he, I think our producer barked back at me for a second when I said that. but from a standpoint, like they didn't utilize him correctly, and that's a fault to Eric Bischoff. To be quite honest with you, it would have worked out great for W. I think if they would have used Bret Hart, I know we're kind of getting off track. I apologize, but if they would have used Bret Hart correctly, the way WWE did, honestly, there's a case and argument that we can make that WCW could have put WWE on the grave with how popular and how well-known Bret Hart was and how great he was in the ring and anything he touched, Yeah. So let me ask you this, since you're throwing that, Bret Hart, what do you think about that to WCW?
Of course, it was a cluster. Yeah, they just didn't use them right. And once they started to try to clean it up, I think it was too late. And they were just throwing anything at the walls to see what would stick. When Bret, if they would have let Bret came in there and not mess around with the NWO crap it could have been so much better. And at that time, they just thought anything NWO would make it better, and it just really didn't.
They were staying stagnant, and the problem was that, and again, I want to clarify, I'm not Joe. I'm very supportive of Bret Hart. I'm not knocking Bret Hart. I know that you heard a meme of a promo of my show, but I want to clarify something here. I think Bret Hart is one of the best wrestlers to ever lace up boots in and out of any ring, any organization, period. Point blank, plain and simple. He's up there on my Mount Rushmore. But what I'm saying is that, you had a situation where Bischoff, like to a point where you were saying, Bear, that the NWO was this big giant thing, but people forget around the time that Bret Hart was let go of WWE, the war between WCW and WWE was kind of neck and neck.
Yeah.
WCW had, but prior to that, WCW was killing it in the ratings because NWO at its peak you couldn't compete with it. And WWE was slowly building their characters up and stuff like that. And, they were getting into the Attitude Era, and they were kind of almost getting into the peak of Attitude Era. That was at the time when Bret Hart got released. And that controversy in itself helped WWE elevate itself and turn Vince McMahon into the guy that we hate now in real life. You know what I mean? So I just wish that they used them correctly. And it sucks that they didn't, because like I said, and I'll stand by this and I will argue this to the day I die. If Eric Bischoff would allow Bret Hart to be Bret Hart, it would have been game over for WWE.
Yeah, it definitely would have been a different ball game. So here's a good one, I think. Sasha Banks to Monet.
All right, I'll see you later.
Now.
Bye.
So
I'm gonna get. I know that I'm going to get a lot of. I know I'm gonna get a lot of crow for this. I know I'm gonna get a lot of crow from this from you.
Okay.
And I know you and I are gonna disagree. I thought it was a bad move for her to leave WWE, and I understand why she did it. I get it because of the situation with Vince. And to be honest with you, Vince McMahon didn't really utilize her to the certain extent. Like, it's weird because she was the only of the 4 horsewomen. She was the only one that would lose the title literally in a matter of days or weeks. Like, she didn't hold the title for no more than, I don't think the longest she ever held the title in WWE was probably like a week.
She actually held it for like she had a almost 3-month run. That was the last one when she dropped it to Bianca.
But on average, she didn't hold the title long enough compared to Bayley or Charlotte or Becky. And the problem is that to a certain extent you have to blame, Vince for that.
Of course.
I think like her leaving, I would say instead of going to AEW, her going to New Japan, I think was I would say I agree. I think it was a good move for her because it elevated her to the popularity more so than it did in WWE. It amplified it. But her going to AEW, I mean, what has she done since she's been in AEW from AEW standpoint, not what she's done outside of AEW while under contract with AEW? She hasn't done anything. So I agree with all the tweets that people are saying no. I don't think it's worked out. I think she was a much better talent in WWE. And I'll be honest with you, I think Triple H knows how to use her correctly. And I think Shawn, if she went back to NXT, Shawn would have been the same way too. So no, I don't agree with her AEW move. I think it was a bad move for her that she's not being used. Women's wrestling in general is not being used correctly in AEW.
I think that you are more in the in the majority than the minority, because most people would agree with you. Now, myself, I honestly think it was a best move for her. And the reason being is that she's made a name. She's created more of a buzz. Now, AEW, yes, it started off rough because
What's up, Tanner?
what's going
I'm
on,
not using
Tanner?
the F-bomb. I was forbidden to use the F-bomb on the show, but Tanner, we did play your promo. I just wanted you to know that.
I think that yes, she started off rough, but because they shouldn't have had her as a face. They definitely should have went heel with her from the get-go.
Right.
But it's turned around. I will argue anybody to this day that her and oh my goodness, I can't even think of her name. Statlander. They had one hell of a match. The two matches they had on pay-per-view were phenomenal. And I think she's finally gotten back into the groove of her wrestling. And now they're getting her.
I haven't cursed on the show. I haven't said a single curse word. Have I said a curse word on the show?
No, you hadn't.
Can the producer or the host confirm that for me? I'm literally
You're
on
clean.
my best behavior.
No, you clean.
Fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks, damn it, fiddlesticks. Bleepity fiddlesticks. Okay, you know what? Before we end the show, Bear, I have to say one curse word. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, I give you that. But I think that and then it goes back to how and I say this in a heartbeat. We are fickle fans. We are fickle fans, and sometimes we will just dog somebody and this, that, and other, and then we'll slowly see and come
Love
around.
You, Tanner, by the way.
So it's to me, I guess it's just everybody has their opinion,
right?
And just like people may argue that FTR were better in WWE than they are in AEW.
That I would disagree with. I think it's a push. I think it's pretty even keel with their motives, especially in the beginning, in the COVID era, when AEW was having limited fan seating. I mean, you heard that reaction when they came in. Like it was incredible. Like recently, they kind of like fallen by the wayside, but no, I thought they were much better in WWE on NXT than they were on the main roster.
Oh yeah, bye.
Like not even close.
Yeah.
So they're kind of having that run right now in AEW. Well, they did at least. So no, I don't agree with. I think they're having you know what? I think they're having a better run in AEW overall than they did in WWE overall.
By far, because I mean, let's face it, for about 6 months, they were the best things on the show.
Yes.
And they weren't just wrestling AEW. They were going to other promotions, winning titles, and just elevating wrestling to a whole different level that hadn't been seen in quite a long time.
By the way, they were known in WWE for NXT and tackling the guy that tried to beat up Bret Hart in his Hall of Fame ceremony speech.
Man, needed to. I wish I could have.
Out of him, man. Send him
man, I wish that he needed to. He had no business tackling Bret. He should have got it. Matter of fact, if people say, I ain't gonna say that, but yeah. What's going on, Jonathan? To get back to the point of this discussion, that it can be a good thing and a bad thing depending on how you take it and how you work it.
Yeah.
And one of the better things that I am very happy about, that out of all these current releases, AEW and WWE, they have so many different places where they can still wrestle and make quality money. And it is so good that the day we're in now, it just seems like we're just continuing going up and up and up. And I love it. I'm a fan of so many different wrestlers, different wrestling things. And I want you to be real mindful that these are people that feed their family for what we love to watch. So again, be mindful when you get on and write your opinion and stuff. Be mindful of putting out certain things and talking about people and just being nasty, man.
Does that include Hulk Hogan?
Yeah, that's include Hulk Hogan. But see, the one thing, but there is a but to it. I own up to not liking him and tell the reasons why I don't like him.
Thank you, Joe.
But hey, trouble is in this world.
I agree. Man,
that is definitely it, Tanner. Like my boy Joe says, just shut up, enjoy wrestling.
Yes.
Unless it's Hulk Hogan. I'm playing. Now, nobody can.
I need somebody to clip that on Twitch, by the way, please. Go ahead.
Nobody can ever say, as much as I dislike Terry Bollea, I always give Hulk Hogan his just due. I've been on shows where I told the truth that Hogan is probably, in my humble opinion, the number 2 wrestler. Just named why. Exactly. And just Hogan helped wrestling to get to this point, the good and the bad. So thank you for doing that. Stop selling your crappy ass beer. So
fuck. There you go. I said the F word. You happy, Tanner? Shit. There, I said another one. I'm done. I've limited my curse words.
Well, I guess that is a great spot to close it out.
I'm getting canceled.
Man. So again, all our fans of this show and of WrestleRama, thank you for watching us. And again, man, just enjoy wrestling, because as easily as it's flourishing, being tribal can bring it back down. We don't want that.
Yeah.
Benny, man, thank you for coming on my show. And don't give some shout outs. Tell where you at. Go for it, my friend.
Well, first of all, I just want everybody to check out this shirt right here. This is our merch in the merch store right now. This is an awesome hoodie. It feels amazing. It is a picture of our former host, Alex A. Train Eldridge, and a Kurt Angle meme that you see here. And on the back of the sweater, it says, "There's Alex A. Train Eldridge look like a Kurt Angle meme." I'm very famous for my wrestling lookalikes and AI music that Tanner has heard and Bear has heard on. I've been a guest on the show, and we don't take ourselves too seriously at WrestleRama, myself, and shout out to my awesome, amazing, talented co-host, Jeff the Ruck, who I wish was with us today. I know he had some prior engagements he had to take care of and things like that, but definitely I'll have him on next time. Yeah, I know for sure. Yeah, but guys, catch us on X at our Twitter. We do our live podcast. You're actually watching this right now on Twitch right now, which is SSDN, SSD Network. and on X at SSDN Network. You can catch us there as well on there. And man, we like to laugh. We love to have a good time. We like to joke around. I don't think Bear has ever been serious on any episode that we've had him on. Tanner or
Well,
anybody for that matter.
I was serious when y'all started talking that Hogan crap, but I digress.
No. You get pissed off whenever I make fun of Nia Jax, but we'll leave that one alone. Hey, by the way, one of the jokes I had was, does Nia Jax look like if she was in a yellow jumpsuit and she was skydiving, the world would believe that the sun was falling? I'll leave that one alone. But yeah, check us out. We'll stay tuned to our networks. Follow us. We'll give you guys an update. We normally do a show once a month and things like that. And man, please, man, anybody can pop on and chime in. And we don't, like I said, we don't take ourselves seriously. We love to have a good time and make everybody laugh, kind of like a barbershop, if you will, you know?
Yes, sir. Well, guys, thank you for joining. As always, love that you are tuning in just to listen to old Professor Bear tell some stories that hit the controversial button every now and then. So
I'm sorry for that.
So continue listening, and as always, thank you, because if it wasn't for you, there would be no me. So thank you, and we'll catch y'all next time on the Bears Thoughts.
I hope it isn't, cause you know I'm trying to get it, been disguising every limit, baby.